Today these eggs sell for 67 cents a dozen here in Dallas-Fort Worth supermarkets. When the price freeze is lifted any day now, that price will probably jump to about 90 cents a dozen. By next fall, it may be as high as $1 a dozen. When it happens, there'll be a lot of shoppers wondering why. How could the price of eggs increase 50% or even double? The largest single reason for the imminent rise in egg prices is the price of soybeans. Chickens eat soybeans, and the beans they're now eating cost 3 and 4 times what they cost 1 year ago. Dr. John Quisenberry, a leading poultry scientist at Texas A&M University, talks about the price of soybeans.
Now, if you're talking about 1973, that's another story, because it's possible that the exorbitant increase in certain of our feed ingredients, which are not controlled in price, and because of foreign demand as well as domestic demand for these, the prices have gotten extremely high, and this has run the cost of producing feed, chicken feed, for example, or laying mash. In this particular case, it's doubled it from a year ago. Last fall, there was weather damage. It was very difficult to harvest the beans, and beans were unavailable for processing, and there were short supplies here and there. And in a democracy, in a price competitive system such as we are proud of to have in the United States, scarcity is one of the major factors that causes an increase in price.
Last year at this time, farmers had already sold their freshly planted soybeans, which look like these young plants. When the soybeans matured and were harvested, the farmers received about $3 a bushel. Months later, the speculators who bought the crops sold them as high as $12.27 a bushel. Benny Simpson, farm manager for Texas A&M at Dallas, talks about it.
Which was the most we'd got in years, you know. We were proud for $3.10.
What do you think they'll sell for this coming fall?
This depends on whether the president lifts the embargo, whether the foreign nations can have all the soybeans they want, how much we produce. If I was gambling, I would gamble on $4 and think I was pretty safe at that.
If you were gambling and you were a farmer, would you plant soybeans this month?
Yes, I think up until about the 20th of July, I would certainly plant soybeans.
But despite the high prices, tradition-bound farmers whose fathers taught them to raise corn and cotton may not respond with enough soybeans to alleviate the shortage.
And what I'm trying to say, in most cases, a soybean is a catch crop. In the Corn Belt, it would be a catch crop to corn. In the South, it's a catch crop to cotton. In this area, it would be a catch crop to grain sorghum.
What's a catch crop?
Well, this is something that we go out and do if it stays too wet too long and we can't put in our main crop. We're going to go out and catch what we can.
H.R. Cates and his son-in-law, George Cooper, operate this egg farm in Kaufman. Eggs laid today by their 55,000 hens will be served tomorrow to Dallas hotel guests. Cates pays 31 cents for a day-old chick, which he feeds until it reaches 6 months old and begins to produce eggs. What did it cost you a while back to raise a pullet from 1 day old to production at 24 weeks, is it?
Well, not counting anything for your facilities. You're talking about out-of-pocket cash
Right.
now. It would run about $1.25.
Now, what does it cost you today to do that?
It'll cost more than $2 today.
After the young hens go into production, feed remains the greatest cost in a carton of eggs.
Well, our increased cost per dozen is approximately 20 cents in the last 8 or 9 months.
And is that mostly because of feed increases?
Right. 90% of that is on account of feed.
And you're absorbing that cost yourself.
Right.
You're not passing it on to somebody buying from you.
Not with this freeze zone.
Are you actually losing money on the eggs right now?
Yes.
Is the feed itself scarce?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I made several calls this morning before I bought 1 load of Milo.
And normally you don't make several
Not having a
calls.
problem. They're calling you wanting to sell it.
What do you do with all these chickens when they they're through laying,
We sell ours to Campbell too.
so has the price that you've been able to sell those for, has that increased as the feed costs have increased?
Just the last group that we sold, we got an increase in price.
So until then, were you losing money on selling the chicken after it's through laying?
Well, when a bird brings 30 cents, you think it'd be making any money? It costs half of that to catch her and load her.
Normally, the hens moved out are replaced by young hens just starting to produce eggs. But because of high feed cost, Cates has not replaced the 6,500 hens he sold several weeks ago to the soup company. If the price of feed stays as high as it is or gets higher, will you just keep raising pullets and keep production up? Is that the cheapest way for you to get through this?
That's the most economical way.
To lose a little money on some of the eggs rather than abandon the business temporarily and pay all the overhead?
Right.
What do you think about the freeze?
I don't like it.
Well, if the freeze went off tomorrow, would you raise the price of your eggs to make up, well, so you at least break even?
I would if I could, and I think I could.
Are eggs bargain at $1 a dozen?
Right. From a food standpoint, yes. I think so. Most complete food that nature provides.